Um, okay, guys. So we are here with Mr. Production. He's a content creator and he works with big brands. So if you don't know him, you guys are gonna get to know him in this episode. This is episode 9 of the SA Gamers podcast. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new. So you don't miss out on future videos like this and more. And yeah, by that being said, let's get into it. They call you the digital guru, the content king. But for those who aren't familiar with the work, could you tell the viewers a little about who you are, what you do, and how you got started in the gaming community?
All right, cool. So my name is Umar Bradlow. I come from I come from Cape Town, born in Cape Town. I actually used to be a breakdancer, a b-boy.
Is it?
Yeah, so I traveled to India and South Korea for competitions, and I competed a lot in Cape Town and Joburg. So that's actually where I more or less started my content journey. I used to shoot. I was in history and politics. So
Sorry,
I learned all
sorry.
this.
Could
Yeah.
you just repeat that from the breakdancing because the internet connection was interrupted, so you are just breaking
Okay.
up the whole time.
No stress. Okay, so I was saying that I used to break dance and I used to shoot all the trailers for our crew,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I started into the content world. I actually have a degree in history and politics,
Oh,
so I
nice.
didn't actually study this. I went on YouTube and I just did a ton of tutorials, and we used to shoot all the trailers for our crew until one day someone told me that I should do this for a living.
Yeah.
So yeah, I jumped into it. I had a little handy cam and started filming a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Then later on, I went to South Korea to compete, and I bumped into a crew called Strife TV, and they're a YouTube channel that used to film b-boy videos, and they told us that the thing that lacks the most in South Africa is that no one knows of any b-boys in South Africa. So I made the decision to sacrifice my career as a b-boy, although I don't think I would have made it that far, but besides the point, I focused on promoting others and showing the rest of the world what the scene was like. And I did that for many years. And then I got a job with a company called Don't Look Down Productions.
Yeah.
Actually, my first job was at YFM.
Oh.
And I was their digital arts producer. So I did some work for them for about 6 months, and then I got a job with a company called Don't Look Down, which did a lot of television shows.
Yeah.
And I was taught I learned a lot from a guy named Billy Berger, a very cool guy. So he taught me a lot on, how to light and stuff like that. Because the thing about learning online is you can only learn so much. Practical is the best way to learn these kind of things. Yeah. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of content for a lot of brands since then, but focused mainly on the dance stuff. Red Bull as well. I work a lot with Red Bull, did a lot of the dance videos for Red Bull.
Yeah.
And then I went to a competition once. So I've always used to play games. My brother and I always used to play like fighting games. We loved my brother Gas Maskey. He's very good at shooting games as well. But yeah, one day we went to, I think it was EGE, and it was my first tournament that I've ever official tournament that I've ever seen. So I was like, oh, this is quite cool. But then when I looked at it and I looked at the rest of the other tournaments that were happening around EG, because we were there for a fighting game tournament, Tekken tournament.
Yeah.
And I looked around and I noticed that all these other tournaments had like nice setups and great lighting and stuff. And the Tekken was just kind of like in the corner. You had to stand while you played. Like very, very little love was given to the Tekken scene. And I was just like, I wasn't happy with that. I was actually very upset. My brother and I made a decision that, you know what, we're going to change that, and we're going to make fighting games the biggest esports genre of gaming in South
Yeah.
Africa. And we started a company, we called it the Ultimate Gaming Championships. And we've just been doing tournaments ever since. Do a lot of content in between because that's my main forte. So we promote a lot of guys, and that's the thing. That's how we were able to get a lot of great content and a lot of great players on our side as well. Like, because the FGC can sometimes be very like fickle. They don't trust a lot of people, and it's mainly because they've been burned a lot. Not a lot of people respect them. So we came in, we showed them like, actually, dude, there's no money in what we're doing right now. We're doing it completely for the love and to grow the scene. And the best way to grow the scene is to just expose it, show everyone that there's actually a scene there, and like show that, there's people that are playing and they're really good and they have the potential to go overseas. So that's what we've been doing ever since. And obviously a lot of brands caught on and saw the kind of stuff we did.
Yeah.
And then, they asked us to work with them, which brought us to like the biggest event that we've ever done, the Rage Digital Online Expo.
Yeah.
We produced the whole thing. So we did all the
Is
content.
it?
We did the live stream. I
Nice.
actually did it in my room here. There were 2 computers here. I had one vision mixer here, and I was directing from another one. It was actually complete chaos, but it was amazing. It was such a great journey. And we've been pushing ever since. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So obviously you do a lot of videography and photography as well. But do you consider yourself more of a videographer and video editor, or more of a photographer?
So I consider myself a cinematographer. So
Okay.
you get two types of. You get a videographer. One guy, a guy who used to teach me back in the day, used to tell me there are 2 types of people in the film industry. There are videographers and there are cinematographers.
I never even heard about that before.
Yeah. So they say a videographer shoots what he sees.
Yeah.
A cinematographer shoots what he wants to show you. So it only allows you to see what he wants you to see, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I consider myself a cinematographer. I like to take my time in lighting my scenes, getting the right focus, getting the right composition, telling the story. I'm really focused on the story. I don't particularly like shooting events because you're just shooting. Whereas like the stuff that I've been doing is more editorial. It's more story driven. Those are the kind of content. That's the kind of content that I prefer shooting. Yeah. So in terms of videography or stills, I prefer video over stills. Stills is actually something that I've only started this year. I'm having a lot of fun, but I still find video a lot more challenging.
Oh, okay. So obviously you've worked with big brands like Cptyouthgaming and so on. But who was your favorite brand to work with, and who would be your dream client?
I've worked with a couple of brands, Cptyouthgaming being one, like you said. I've worked with Red Bull, I've worked with New Balance, I've done stuff with G-Star, I've worked with so many brands. I've done stuff, I've worked for Nike as well. So I've touched on all the brands, Acer, Cougar as well, like we mentioned. It's not so much the dream client that I'm looking for. It's more the dream project that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to push to a point where, because I've focused a lot this year on promoting my content. A lot of the content that I've been posting online is actually like content that I shot a while back. I've got 10 years worth of content that I've never actually shown people.
Wow.
So yeah, so I've been posting all of it and showing what I've done. Mixing up with some of the new content that I've done. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to a point where instead of me going to brands and telling them, let's do this project, I'm trying to get it to the point where the brands come to me and say like, yo, we see what you're doing. Can we get involved? And I'd be like, of course, yeah, this is the budget I'm looking for. This is what I need to make it work. And they'll be like, cool, we believe in what you're doing. Here's the money.
Yeah.
That's where I want to get to that point, because brands, as much as they love your work, sometimes it's a lot of risk that they take when they work with me, because I'm not necessarily with an agency. I'm a freelance, so with agency, there's always someone that can like manage and everything. They're not used to always managing, so I do appreciate the brands that do take a risk on me, and I like to believe that I haven't let them down yet. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how do you stay up to date on current trends and technology? And what's your favorite video editing software that you like to use?
So how I stay up to date? Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward answer. So in terms of what's happening in the gaming scene, both locally and internationally, I want to give a shout out to my boy Umar Bradlow, my brother, and Solid Jago. Those two have their ears to the ground when it comes to the esports scene. If there's anything fighting game related, Solid Jago will know what's going on and what's cracking. And Junaid, he watches all the esports stuff, so he
Yeah.
always knows who's playing and how good they are and who's the top players and stuff like that, which helps me out a lot, because I like games, but I don't always follow the competitive side. In terms of software, I'm full on Adobe suite, so I use After Effects, Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere. I use Audition as well, just to final mix my audio. And then I like I said, even though I've been doing this for 10 years, I still go onto YouTube and I still look at tutorials, even the simplest ones, because sometimes things fall through the cracks, you forget certain things. So it's always good to stay fresh and relevant. Yeah.
Okay. What? Speaking of technology, what's the biggest technical challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Hectic. So there's always technical challenges. It's not a production unless something goes wrong. So you always plan for the worst. And if anything, being a content creator, if you are interested in doing something like this on the scale that I do it, or even beyond, you got to be a problem solver. So the one that was most nerve-wracking for me was last year at Red Bull Hit the Streets. We were streaming the show for them. And with Tekken, everything was smooth sailing. Like, the players came in, they played the games, and everyone loved the stream. There was even like little pieces of content that we added, which was awesome. And then we took a quick break, and then we brought in an international caster, and that kind of threw everything off a little bit because the audio wasn't right. So when the stream went live, the Street Fighter game like messed up as well. Like the round one was stuck on the screen for some reason. No one could understand why. So we had to go to a be right back screen and change out the PlayStation because it just wouldn't go away. And then on top of that, the audio was giving issues. And you know what? It's so funny because it was something so small that we changed that we didn't realize we changed. But we managed to fix it eventually. But that was for me, from what I can remember to date, is like one of the most nerve-wracking things that was for me. Yeah, because obviously when it's live, people are chatting on the side, and because it's a Red Bull event, you have a whole bunch of international people coming through to watch, and they were just hating on the production, and I was just like, But yeah, you learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
Makes you stronger.
So when you go to shoot a event or gaming tournaments, you obviously need equipment. So what are the 3 must-have pieces of equipment you think beginner videographers need to invest in?
First and foremost, the most important thing that you can buy is sound. Get decent mics, so if you're going to be going to an event, you should get a handheld mic that has directional sound, so that if it's a very noisy area, then you're only picking up the audio that's coming through to the mic, which is obviously someone speaking. If you're doing interviews, it's always nice to have like lavaliers or lapel mics. And then after that, I would say the next important thing would be your lighting, good lights are so important. It really can set the mood of your interview. I've done workshops before where I show like 10 different lighting setups with just 3 lights.
Yeah.
And it like sometimes there's probably way more that you could do as well. But I just show like, what the first thing you need to ask yourself is what kind of story you're trying to tell. And if you figure out that once you figure out the story, you got to figure out the type of mood that you want to put in through your lighting. So that's very important. The camera itself is not always as important. The glass or the lenses that you use actually give off a better picture. There's been tests where they take like the most expensive, like 180,000 Rand camera, and then they take like a 10,000 Rand camera, and they put the cheapest lenses on the 180,000 Rand camera, and they put the most expensive glass or lens on the 10,000 Rand camera. And the 10,000 Rand camera, if the lighting is good, performs better. So yeah, just those kind of tips and tricks I can give. Yeah, obviously you always keep like a screwdriver or a 2 Rand coin, because you always have to loosen screws and tighten screws on cameras. So that's just something I've always learned. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So for the last question before we end off, can you give 5 tips for beginner videographers and editors that they should know before they head out to shoot their first job or like a tournament event?
So I guess the first thing I can say, the first tip is, if you're not ready to work extra hours and put in the extra time, then, and be willing to work for more than what you're worth in the beginning, then you should quit now. This is not the kind of job for you. This is a hard job. It's not an easy job. It looks like fun, but there's a lot of stress, a lot of problem solving, and just a lot of patience, man. You can create some of the most amazing work, and then you put it out online, and then it gets like 10 views, and then you get some other person who uses their cell phone and does like a TikTok and gets like thousands of views, and it's frustrating. And you got to be patient. Your time will come. That's the first tip. Second tip is collaboration. The trick to growing, and you're doing the exact right thing now, is you're collaborating and you're communicating with others. The gaming scene, we're trying to change it, but we noticed that when we came in here, everyone's very to themselves. They don't like to collaborate or share. There are people out there that are really trying and pushing, and hats off to them. And we need more of those kind of people. So if you're coming into the scene, be open to work with people, chat to people. And even work for free, as long as it's for the passion. If you're a content creator, you're not going to make money straight off the bat. You're going to have to make a whole bunch of free projects. And if you are, do things that make you happy, man. Do content that makes you happy. If you like Fortnite, shoot people who play Fortnite, or do content with Fortnite. Don't try and chase an algorithm, or just do what makes you happy. That was number 2. Yeah. Number 3 is create a proper support structure. Having friends around that help you, it helps a lot. Family that supports you. That also, not a lot of parents are going to understand what we're trying to do. I know in the beginning my parents didn't, but now they're like super supportive. But it's a generational thing sometimes. You're doing something that's never been done before, in their eyes anyway. So, just find support structure, good friends that see your vision, and surround yourself with positive people. That's number 3, hey?
Yeah.
Number 4, if you want to learn, go to people who know what they're doing and learn from them. Don't be afraid to ask to learn. It's the worst they can say is no. And even then, they probably won't, I'm always up if people are always keen to learn, and I've got a big production coming up, and they hit me up. I'll tell them, look, I've got this production that's coming up. We're doing something really cool. If you want to join, come through. Just know you're probably going to only do coffees, or you're going to have to go and fetch things or carry things, but you'll be in an environment where you can learn. Because like I said, being online doesn't always give you all the tools. And number 5 is never stop learning. So, go online, even though it's not, you can't get all your answers online, you can get quite a bit of them online. So
Yeah.
go online, look up tutorials, constantly learn. You know, when you're playing games and you're like, oh, I'm tired, let me take a break, you know, go put a YouTube video on and just watch, you know, 5 tips when editing, you know, or like like the simple things. And then when you're feeling like you really want to learn, go into the more in-depth stuff and, you know, sit with your editing program and like practice. And a lot of these tutorials, they'll give you assets and they'll tell you, you know, the assets are down below, you can download them and try it yourself. So yeah, that's 5. Yeah.
Okay. So before we end off, where can the viewers find you?
So you guys can find me on all my social media. It's all the same. Mr. I think it's, let me double check. Because I always get this wrong. So it's Mr._production7. Or you can follow myself and my brother and Mr. Chocolates, who's our other business partner, at UGCZA. We've got the coolest content. We actually have some really sick stuff coming up this year that we're planning and working on, and have already done actually. If you want to go check it out on our YouTube channel, our Instagram or our Twitter, at UGCZA for all of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for being on the podcast and for taking your time. And I hope we can chat more in the future.
Yeah, definitely, man. Hit me up if you ever want to come on set and learn some cool stuff. I'm always down to teach people.
Thanks, man. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you then.
Peace.
Peace out.